I was born, one made chest. I can't even rest. No cost of living, everything doubling. This thing troubling. Tell me how I must carry on with a seemingly one arm. Tell me how I must survive with 6.5. Tell me how I must survive with 6.5. Tell me how I must survive with 6.5. Please tell me how I must survive with 6.5. Every time I go to the market, everything skyrocket. Rice, the cheese, the liver, them make me want shiver. Tell me how I must carry on with a seemingly one arm. Tell me how I must survive with 6.5. Please tell me how I must survive with 6.5. Tell me how I must survive with 6.5. Please tell me how I must survive with 6.5. The other day, the landlord called me rent. I paid him the last cent. Come on, see, bill, I walk and he rent the bill. I paid him against me will. Tell me how I must carry on with a seemingly one arm. Tell me how I must survive with 6.5. Please tell me how I must survive with 6.5. Tell me how I must survive with 6.5. Please tell me how I must survive with 6.5. Please tell me how I must survive with 6.5. Please tell me how I must survive with 6.5.
Oh yes. Please tell me how we must survive with 6.5. Welcome to Politics 101 on a Friday evening, Friday night, Friday afternoon. It's the end of the traditional work week. We have come to the end of the second week of the teacher strike in Guyana, which is still the big news coming out of Guyana. And of course, we will lead off with that tonight. We have our regular guest, Dr. Vincent Adams, and Member of Parliament Nima Flue-Bess from the East Bank, from Mocha, Arcadia, is also going to join us later on. So we are going to be dealing with the issues of the day, of course. Welcome again. As I said, we have come to week 2 of the teachers' strike, which is still the big news. Of course, there's an oil spill. There's an oil spill off the shore of Tobago, and that has entered our discussion here in Guyana. It has significance for us, for our oil industry. We are going to be weighing in on that, of course. And then some other news in the oil and gas industry. The gas to shore pipeline is still in the news. So we are going to be talking about those issues. Welcome. If you're joining us from in Guyana, welcome. If you're joining us from outside of Guyana in the wider Caribbean, welcome to Politics 101. Those of you who are joining us from North America, welcome to Politics 101. Of course, those of you who are joining us from further afield in Europe, especially in the United Kingdom, welcome to Politics 101. Not forgetting those of you from the South American continent, especially those of you in Cayenne or French Guyana and Suriname. Welcome to Politics 101. I see some of our familiar faces are here already. Special welcome to you. Special welcome to Mr. Vibert White from the East Bank. Your MP is going to be on tonight, Mr. White. Mr. White is joining us from Grove on the East Bank, and he has his team there, his group of people there. I noticed Wendell Saul is joining us. Denise Ned, Patricia Grace Andy, Marcia Jackman. Marcia is regularly here, and we thank you so much for taking the time to join us on a Friday night, a Friday evening. Please share the link. Please share the link, because we are going to be upping the ante this evening, as we do. Of course, it's 7 o'clock, 7 p.m. It's the time of the Politics 101. After Politics 101, we go over In the Ring with Mr. Sherrod Duncan, and then we give way to round off the night with Mark Benchop on Straight Up. And of course, in the mornings, we have Kidaki Amsterdam on the Guyanese morning time. And then we have other programs. We have on Wednesdays. On Wednesdays, we do have Mr. Paul Slow. Hard-hitting program that deals a lot with corruption on that program. Rickford Burke, of course, does his conversation with Rickford Burke. I think he does that on Thursday night. I know Coretta McDonald does something on Wednesday nights. A plethora of programs. I'm sure I'm missing a few programs. The APNU AFC, they have a list of programs that they do. But we all contribute to the consciousness raising. We all contribute to the discussion, the discourses, keeping the flame alight, the flame of freedom alight. Welcome to Politics 101. In case you all are seeing me armed with my little thing on my face, I'm not trying to get into the style, as you all say. Did a little procedure on the eye yesterday. So it's what they call the post-surgery precautions. I have to keep my little, in case when I go to read, I have to get the stuff, all these instructions. A little procedure went well, and I'm back and ready to continue. Thank you all very much. I'm not getting into the young people style, as you would say, just following the doctor's orders, and say keep this by, so that if I have to read, this I think helps with the reading. Welcome to Politics 101. Welcome, Alston Broad. Welcome to you, June. June is a regular. Francis, Keith Rockcliffe, welcome to Politics 101. Alston is joining us from New Amsterdam. I want to welcome all the people from New Amsterdam into the house, all the people from Berbice, Quarantine. Whether you are on the east side of the river, Berbice River, or the west side of the Berbice River, welcome to Politics 101. Those of us from around the city and the environs, a special shout out to the teachers who've been doing such a wonderful job. 2 weeks out there on strike, standing up against a government that is very clear that it is not shifting. I listened to the vice president's press conference yesterday, and when he was asked the question that everyone is asking, why not meet with the teachers and bargain for better wages for them? And he found every reason to say they are not. So the government has made up its mind. It's not going to meet with the teachers. It's going to fight the teachers. This is what it has come down to. The government is going to fight the teachers. As I said early in the week, the teachers are fighting for something the government is fighting against something. But that's the nature of the government that we have. And for those of you who feel that sometimes we are being unreasonable, when we say the government is authoritarian, where is the evidence? When we say the government is an apartheid, behaving like an apartheid government, where is the evidence? Well, the evidence is there, right before our faces. Right before our faces. You listened to Mr. Jagdio yesterday. He knows that when they deduct wages from the teachers, they're hurting the strike. He knows that. And that is what they set out to do. He knows that. He said that, they're considering online education. They're considering online education. I think Dennis Chabral from the Demerara Waves asked him, well, the money you're going to pay for online education, why not meet with the teachers and give them that money? Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. They are fighting the teachers. And that is the nature of the government we're dealing with. So they're going to go to online education. I tell you, I'm an educator. I know something about online education. I teach online. I'm not a big fan of it, but I know something about online education. And if you're talking about online education at the level of high school and primary school, you're in serious trouble. Teaching online is a particular skill. It's not easy. Teaching online is a particular skill. Jagdio speaks of teaching online as if it's some magical teaching online. You will have to train people to teach online. You'll have to pay for that. But anyhow, the government rather do the impossible or try to do the impossible rather than sit down with the teachers. That's where we are. That's the nature of the government. Where are we going? What is left? When a government makes clear it's not even prepared to sit down with the teachers, where are we going? Where are we going as a country? The teachers have gone on strike and they've exposed the government more. They've exposed the government more. Look at how far the government is prepared to go to ban the calypso of a 6-year-old child. I read a news story in the Starbuck News today in which the parents of the child are saying that they're doing a lot to console the child. The WPA in its press release said that the government doesn't care that it may have crushed the spirit of a child, a 6-year-old child. You've brought into your political mess unwanted publicity to a child. This government simply does not care. Simply doesn't care. Good evening to you, Susie Wong, Vashti Pollard. Good evening. Welcome to Politics 101. It's good to be alive. It's good to be Guyanese. And it's good to be here on Politics 101 on a Friday night. A lot to talk about. The teachers have gone to court. The teachers have gone to court. Asking the court to find that the government's action violates the Trade Union Recognition Act, violates the law. We wait and see what the court is done. They're saying that this is a matter that is ongoing. The matter has not been resolved. This is what they're arguing. The lawyers are arguing. If a resolved and the teachers continue beyond the resolution, then perhaps the government will be on good ground. But this is an ongoing dispute. And until the dispute is resolved, the status quo remains. That is what the lawyers are arguing. So although the teachers are striking, they're striking within the context of the status quo. It seems to me a reasonable legal argument. Good evening to you, Cheryl Sampson, Philip, Albert, Easton. Welcome to all of you. Welcome to all of you. And we are going to get going. Our guest tonight, of course, our usual guest, Dr. Vincent Adams. And we have someone who should have been here a long time ago, but she has been hiding from us. Member of Parliament, Nima Flue-Bess, one of our favorites, as you know, but even the favorites sometimes stay away from us, Nima Flue-Bess herself is a teacher. I think she teaches somewhere in the city, if I'm not mistaken, St. Joseph or somewhere, but she's a teacher. She's a member of Parliament. She's a community activist. So she's well placed to speak on the issues tonight. Welcome to Politics 101. Those of you who like my African dashiki, I get them from a Guyanese-owned company called Buxton Chic, and they sew and produce African wear for men, women, children, and they're located in the Maryland area. Buxton Chic. Their number is 240-593-4138. 240-593-4138. Buxton Chic, a Guyanese-owned company producing African wear. They sew it to order, and they ship anywhere in the world. Anywhere in the world. So those of you who want your African wear, your dashikis, your African clothing, get in touch with them. Tell them that I sent you, or you come from Politics 101 and you'll get a discount. The prices are reasonable to begin with. But if you tell them that I sent you, then you get a further discount. Again, Buxton Chic, the number to call, 240-593-4138 for all your African wear. And just in the event that you have a small business and you would like to let your product be known to our audience, please contact me and we can work something out. Not your formal advertisement, but certainly we can help to promote your small business. You can get in touch with us. So call Buxton Chic for your African wear, 240-593-4138. And for those of you who are just joining us, don't be distracted by my thing here. I am not getting into the style and I'm not in the sun and so on. As I indicated earlier, did a little procedure on the eye yesterday. And the doctor said that I have to keep this thing handy just in case I have to read. I don't put a strain on the eye. The procedure was quite successful. A slight, normal, small procedure, nothing to worry about. Because here I am ready to go today, and we did it yesterday. So I'm not stealing the young people style. The young people always get their shades. Old people used to get a string tie, and they tie the spectacle behind, or sometimes they used to get it. So, the young people now, you go to party, you go to funeral, you see them girls and boys, and they get the thing. I'm not taking away the young people's style. It's the doctor's order that I have to wear the thing. Here we are. Let me bring my guests in because I think we are ready to roll. Yes, it's at that time. We are ready to roll. Before we bring them in, let's hear a little bit more.
I have a born piece, one made chest, Flue-Bess. How cost of living, everything doubling, this thing troubling. Tell me how I must carry on with a seemingly one arm. Tell me how I must survive with 6.5. Tell me how I must survive with 6.5. Tell me how I must survive with 6.5. Please tell me how I must survive with 6.5. Every time I go to the market, everything skyrocket. Rice, the cheese, deliver. Then make me want shiver. Tell me how I must carry on with a seemingly one arm. Tell me how I must survive with 6.5. Please tell me how I must survive with 6.5. Tell me how I must survive with 6.5. Please tell me how I must survive with 6.5. The other day, the landlord called me rent. I paid him the last few cents. Come on, see bill, I walk and the rest of bill. I paid him against me will. Tell me how I must carry on with a seemingly one arm. Tell me how I must survive with 6.5. Please tell me how I must survive with 6.5. Tell me how I must survive with 6.5. Please tell me how I must survive with 6.5. Please tell me how I must survive with 6.5. Please tell me how I must survive with 6.5.
Quite a question. Tell me how we must survive with 6.5. Good evening to all you lovely people. Good evening to Denise McKenzie, Brenda Henry. Brenda, welcome to Politics 101. Tell me how we must survive with 6.5. You all know I love Calypso, and I happen to have become a student of Calypso. I teach at least 2 courses that have to do with Calypso. And so I'm a student of Calypso, and I know something about Calypso. That's a real Calypso. And whether it's in the children category or the adult category, that is a well-penned Calypso. And that young lady has talent. She has the personality of a Calypsonian. A Calypsonian is not any singer. You have to have a certain personality as a Calypsonian. And you know, I've lived my whole life, especially in the last couple of decades, seeing little black girls, especially, going in on the stage and winding up and carrying on and so on. I don't have a problem with that, right? Winding up and carrying on and so on is part of the entertainment. I don't at all look down on it. But I'm saying this is a government that is prepared to have our children go and wind up on stage. They have see nothing wrong with that, because they don't see it as expression. They see it as lewdness. So they're prepared to encourage that. But here is a child singing serious lyrics. Social commentary is a very important aspect of the Calypso art form. And you're discouraging. That's the lesson you're sending to children. Come and sing, wine and jam, jump and wine. And it's okay. But if you're going to sing about cost of living, we're going to ban it. We have sunk to new low. And we are doing that in Guyana. When Marshall Montano, who was that girl age when he first started singing Calypso, I remember him as a little boy, he said, they say I'm too young to soca. Oh, yeah. And Marshall Montano became a soca, jump and wine artist, and he come many times to Guyana. Marshall Montano. This year, Marshall Montano decided, first of all, he going to college. So he say, I'm studying. And I ain't doing the jump and wine thing. I'm going into the Calypso arena. And he went in and he sang serious calypso, and is today the calypso monarch, singing social commentary. And Marshall Montano shows that the calypso art form is diverse, and we have to encourage all genres of calypso. But yet, our government is telling our children, children not supposed to sing about cost of living. What do they know of calypso? Who only calypso know? That's the first thing. It's cultural insensitivity. If I were in the PPP government, I would say things like calypso. I won't even touch that thing. That thing, no, I won't even touch that. Given the cultural origins of the leadership of the PPP, there are certain things that you should leave alone. Oh boy, if I touch that, no, 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 no. But no, these people are so insensitive. They're so insensitive. Anyhow, let me bring in my comrades, my friends, my guests, however you want to call them, and we get going. Sister Nima Flue-Bess. Good evening to you.
Good evening. Good
Uh,
evening.
Nima, where have you been hiding from us? It's been almost a year since you have appeared on Politics 101.
I'm now invited again. I wasn't hiding. So please tell the viewers you now invited me again. So I'm here.
Dr. Vincent Adams, you
In
cannot make the same charge.
no, I can't. I look forward to this Friday nights because we must be special here, Doc, because Friday night is normally a night people looking forward to a celebration for the weekend coming up, and you put
Yes,
the work week behind you. See, you're going home for looking no television. You're going to take a beer or something with your
yeah,
friends.
yeah,
So for
yeah,
us to attract
yeah. Times have changed.
to
Times
be
have
coming
changed.
to and looking at us, that's great. But it's nice to be on again and welcome to our great listeners. Nice to be honest. You hear, Doc? If I were you, I wouldn't apologize for looking cool. All you need,
Ah, I like you picked the words out of my mouth. I was going to tell him that.
Well, you have to blame my eye doctor. Get me look cool. Nima, let's start off with you. Let's let's get your first of all for both you and Dr. Adams, and then we go on to the teacher strike. Let's get your reaction to the banning of that calypso by that little 6-year-old child. Your
Well,
reactions, Nima. Yeah.
I just put out a statement not probably about an hour ago on that particular issue. As an educator and a person in allied arts dealing with martial
Mm,
money competition and all of that over the years, they when you review the rules that were sent out to the schools to guide the entry of that piece, it met all the requirements. Um, it was strange enough that this child participated in her regional competition, won the competition, and it's when she reached the national competition, she's being disqualified. And that alone tells us that this is more than the eyes that meet the eyes. This is politics being played out. Nothing is wrong with that child's song. I sat and listened to that song for over 5 minutes, recorded every word that she sang. And I can tell you, based on what I have seen, because we have entered children in the competition, I reviewed the rules and checked. She has not violated any of the rules. These people are playing nasty politics with our children, and it's something that should not be condoned by society. All of us, why do you have a category of social commentary? You can't be, she should not be commenting on fairy tale stories. It has to be real life, what is happening. And then to say it operate as though this child probably have no knowledge. Any child goes to the shop, if they go today and buy a sweet for $20 and then they return and it's $25, what will they come home and say? Mommy or daddy, you know the sweetie selling for $5 more? So are you telling us that our children can't think? Are you telling us that our children are not allowed to express themselves. It's a violation of the child's right. A child must be exposed to play. A child must be exposed to the creative industry where they can express themselves. And calypso is just another form, but it's really nasty politics by the government.
Sister Nima, thanks so much for weighing in there and bringing that aspect. I couldn't put my hands on the rules for this competition, but I went and I looked at the rules of the children competition in Trinidad to see whether there is any guideline they prohibiting the children from singing in social and political commentary. And there's no guideline. There's no guideline there in the Trinidad rules. And I'm so glad that you were able to fill us in on the rules as they pertain to Guyana. Dr. Adams, your reaction.
With all due respect to my our great MP there, this here is way beyond rules, and I think when we start talking about rules, we go down a rat hole with this government.
Yeah. Well, they're the ones who raised the question of rules.
You're right.
Yeah,
they're the ones. They're the ones who said that he violated the rules.
Right,
Yes.
but that's where they want you to go. This is beyond rules. This here is, and it's not even about kids. This here goes way beyond. This here, and I listened to your program a couple of nights ago, Dr. Hines. This goes way back to the roots of Calypso.
Yeah.
Which is a culture of Africans, right? It's part of our culture. So it goes way beyond it. I mean, let's call it for what it is. First, and besides the race and everything that is involved here, the racial implications, it's also the kind of authoritarian government that we have. And the MP, our honorable MP would tell you, you cannot even use, this here is stifling of free speech. She or no other MP could even use the word corrupt in Parliament. They can't use the word corrupt in Parliament. Look at what they did when Judge Kissoon made his ruling. The vice president and others went after Judge Kissoon. I'm telling you, we are heading down a dangerous path here. Do you see what happened to Navalny in Russia?
Mm-hmm.
That's where we're heading. I'm telling you, and these people do not care a damn about what you and I or anybody else say, and that's what we're heading. I think we need to call it for what it is, and don't finesse stuff about, to me anyway, about truth. Let's call it for what it is.
Nima, you want to add anything?
Yes, I agree with him. But in me talking about the rules, is that I think I saw in one of the articles they were trying to say that the child violated some particular rule that the guideline they have given.
Yeah.
And so I actually sent it to you, Doctor. And so after the show, you can review it. When I went through that information, it does not validate what they're saying. They have blatantly violate a child's right to express herself in the arts. And like all the other arts, we see what is happening in this country. They are killing the arts. This government is killing the arts. They're using every possible avenue to kill the arts. We know what matrimony is about. Check and see the program that they have. They're dashing away our tradition, our practice, and bring in new ones to say that they're doing something instead of trying to preserve and protect what people know us for. People in the Caribbean know us to be a people that always celebrate matrimony. If you check now and see what they're promoting everything else: carnival, juve, dancehall, this, that. How does that really help to build and maintain our cultural heritage? You're not seeing that, and you're seeing the attacks on the calypso. I was actually looking forward to the calypso competition, the adult competition, because as a child growing up, it's something that I always enjoy. When you listen to the lyrics and they talk about what is happening, it always tells a story. Now you gotta wonder what type of story you'll hear, because people are thinking about what the government will do. Very sad.
Will do. And I just wish to remind our audience that when the PPP first came back to power in 1992, they wanted to get rid of matrimony because they say it had to do with Burnham birthday, and they wanted to shift the celebrations to May, independence. They wanted to get rid of matrimony in February. And I remember the Calypsonians, all of them standing up, and they were all singing in that year, and a few years after singing, "Leave our matrimony alone." And the PPP had to back down. But they always wanted to declare war on calypso and matrimony. These people are fascists, yeah? And because when you go to culture and the arts, you're really getting into sacred areas.
Yeah.
When you see a government moves there, you're getting into areas. In the colonial days, calypso was banned. Dr. Adams was hinting at that. They banned calypso as subversion. They said it was subversive, and they banned it. So there is a long history behind calypso and government's reaction to calypso. In Trinidad, when Eric Williams had an attitude to calypso, they would sing on him, they would call him Deafy, they would call him all kind of thing. And he used to say, "Let the jackass breathe." And in fact, Chuck does sang a calypso called "Let the jackass breathe," and so on. When Pandey and the UNC came to power, one of the first thing they did is they went after calypso and Calypsonians and started to ban calypso from the airwaves. And the Calypsonians pushed back. So there's a history of this thing on the part of some people. Look, culture is not something that you mess with. You try to build on it. We're a multi-ethnic society, and we have to have cultural respect. We have to have cultural respect, and a government needs to take a hands off. Needs to take a hands off from that thing. But this government really is out of order in the worst sense. Nima, let me get you started here on the teacher strike. You're a teacher. It's been 2 weeks. The teachers have been on strike. They've been on the road. We are hearing encouraging numbers coming from the teachers union. We have seen the pushback of the government. The vice president's press conference yesterday was quite revealing. Dr. Adams texted me last night to say he had just finished watching the press conference. I was just preparing to start watching it. And my God, basically what that fellow was saying, we're not sitting down and talk with these people. We're going to war them. We are going to beat them down to the ground. Nima, you've been out there for the last weeks. Paint for our audience a picture of what that is. Because let me tell you, if anybody says that they were not surprised at the kind of response we got from the teachers, they'd be lying. I tell you, I'm an optimist. And given what we've seen over the last 3 years from this government, given the way in which they have dealt with protests, when I heard the strike was being called, I said, look, if I get a 30% turnout from the teachers, I run in with that. But the teachers have exceeded that. They have surprised all of us. And I rather suspect, including the government and the union, paint for us, against the backdrop of my comments there, paint for us a picture of the teacher strike.
Well, I am on the road. I've been on the road every single day. I've always been, since I became a teacher over 20-something years, on every industrial action, because I believe we have rights, just like everybody else. And as workers, we're entitled to better wages and working conditions. This current government had 3 years and counting to make it right for our teachers, but they choose not to. Instead, they choose to be a national bully. Your teachers call a strike, and they've decided that they will take actions of not taking out the union dues from our salary. And nobody didn't force us for that. We signed up for that. And that's our right, that we request that the monies be taken from our salaries. Secondly, they've taken the position that they will not pay us, those who are on strike, because we're out of the classroom asking for more to be given to us, which we truly deserve. Viewers, tonight I want you to know that the life of a teacher is not easy. Working in the schools, many times people you don't have proper furniture to replenish supplies, like your teaching materials, you might run out. During the term, there's nowhere that you could go to get any additional backup. Whatever was procured at the beginning of the term got to last the entire term. And what you would find, because of our love for educating and imparting knowledge, a lot of times teachers will go into their own pockets and subsidize what is not there, find the monies to purchase, and try to ensure that our children are properly educated. And what we've seen happening is that the Ministry of Education does not care about what is happening. And so they decide, instead of engaging with our union on matters to discuss the needs of our teachers, they have decided that they will take their steps to deal with the teacher however they feel like dealing with the teachers. We have a right to be on the road. The cash grant that they talk about, that they give to the children, it does not benefit us as teachers. It benefits the children. And it also costs the teacher, because we have to go do quotations for this money to buy items that our students need in the classroom. We cannot pay transportation from that money. We have to find our own money to pay transportation to go and get the quotation. And so it continues. Secondly, they speak of the cash grant, because we care cash grant that they're giving out to families, to the children. How does that benefit the teacher? That does not benefit the teacher in any way. The students are benefiting. That is very good. But what happens to the because we care action to match the grant? It's not only the money that the children need, they need to have happy teachers in the classroom. And happy teachers means that our salaries is good enough so that we can live comfortably. It means that we will have the necessary resources to make learning easy for our students. That's what it means. We have not been seeing that by this government. And so we have a right to be out there. They've lamented the fact that they're doing textbooks. I want the viewers to know tonight, all the talks that they're talking about textbook, if I was an author for textbook, I would have come after the government of Guyana that continue to photocopy these people book and do their own foolishness with it. I want our viewers to understand, as a teacher, you might request a particular book. And what the Ministry of Education does, they collect the information. And when they decide to bring the book, sometimes it's the wrong book that they delivered. So if you've planned your lesson or your work to complete from a particular textbook, when they bring the wrong book, they're not taking it back. They're leaving it there. So now you, the teacher, have to come up with another strategy or change your plans to suit the new textbook. Is that right? Is that fair? Is that just for a teacher? No, it is not. And we're saying to them that they need to get our union to the table. They need to sit and discuss in the interest of our teachers. I am quite sure if you talk to every teacher, they have a different issue or some issue that needs to be addressed. And that's why we have a union. That's why we have our regular meetings, so that we can discuss and highlight our issues, our challenges to our union that will take these matters to the government. The union would have presented a proposal to them since 2020. And to date, nothing. 2020, you look at it. 2021, you have not looked at it. 2022, you have not looked at it. 2023, you have not looked at it. Now we're in 2024, you're telling us about 2027? Hell no. We have a right to stand up for our rights. And I encourage people to come out and support. You know, every day that I go on the road and I look at my colleagues and we talk and we discuss, you know, is it to get pay and 75% or 60% of your income is for bills? Mm-hmm. That's what the reality of our lives is. You have to pay bills. Then the remainder is what you have to survive on with your family. In my case, I have a large family. I don't ever shy away from telling people I have 5 kids. They're all in school. And I can tell you it's not easy, even though I'm doing two jobs. It's not easy to provide for them because you know when you have growing children, you have to take care of their nutrition. And if you want them to eat properly, you have to be investing. We have to do farming. I have to do farming to subsidize the costs to provide. Could you imagine a teacher who might be a single parent and having to deal with that? And or a teacher who does not have their own home and have to pay a monthly rent. It is unfair to expect that our teachers will just sit and these people that have to make decisions, they don't go to the market. They don't have to pay any bill. None of them in authority, all who talking, those ministers, they don't pay bills. Let us show me which bill they pay. They collect the fat salary and they actually have to do nothing. We collect our little pittance and we have to stretch it. We have our own children to take care of. And sometimes we have to assist our students. What is wrong with the government engaging our union? It is just barefaced national bullyism. We will go for the long haul. They must engage our union. You were given enough time. The government was given enough time to engage the union in a discussion and come up with a decision that we can be comfortable. That 6.5% that they gave us is basically about $4,000 or $5,000 you're getting a salary, which is a bag, a small size of carby, bag of rice, and probably some sugar. That's all that is added. But when you go back to the shop with that 4,000 you get, I am quite sure prices gone up again for different items in the market. Nobody's controlling that. So we have a right to be on the streets, and I call on all and sundry, support the teachers.
Support the teachers.
The teachers. Come out and support the teachers.
The teachers. MP Nima Flue-Bess, herself a teacher. Dr. Adams, all of us are teachers. I'm sure at some point you taught. I'm sure you did.
Yeah.
That
was my very first job, as a matter of fact. You remember in the days of pupil teachers?
Pupil teachers, yes.
I thought I wanted to be a teacher, so I came out as a pupil teacher, and I taught for 1 year. And of course, when I was in graduate school, well, you know the gig,
yes,
the teaching assistant and stuff like that.
Yes.
But and and I've been saying, all of us have been calling for the same thing. The only thing that these people understand, we've got to go, the parents have got to support it. What the heck is happening to the Ghana Public Service Union? You've got to, we've got to get support. That's the only thing that they understand right now. And it's really I pass. But from a policy standpoint, education is the foundation of the building of any economy. And I'm not making this stuff up. Of course, I've worked at the highest level of the U.S. government, and we had to set policies, and all of our policies, and the mantra was what our policies have to be to show where we're going to be competitive with the rest of the world. And it was built under the foundation of education, the education system. It's not infrastructure. As a matter of fact, infrastructure was number 3. So that's where you start. They've torn this thing on top of its head. They've got infrastructure. How could you have an economy? 58% of that budget is going for infrastructure, and we all know who is getting the money. I've heard all kinds of calculations as to, the guys who are putting the money, the less than 1% of the people who are getting the money. So here you've got teachers who are barely making probably $100,000. I don't know how they live on that, especially now with the inflation. You can't even rent a house in Georgetown for that kind of money, a decent house in Georgetown for that kind of money. And then you've got the ministers. Look at their salary. I saw some calculations here, some numbers where ministers are like 1.8 million when you add it up. And as the MP said, they don't have to do anything. They get up. They've got maids. The maid is getting more than the teachers, 160,000 I saw. The chauffeur getting 306. 60 something thousand. And I'm not saying that they do not deserve it. They work hard and they deserve it. But the teachers value to any economy and the country. And it's not only about the economics part of it in terms of the money. The teachers spend a lot of time, as much time with the kids to instill values and everything that they learn and the way, the everything that they, the core values. A lot of it comes from the teachers. So they're into everything building, building them, not only the economy again, it's building that core part and the core values of a nation. And just to hit the numbers, when I hear it, it nauseates me when I hear this vice president. This guy just lies through his teeth without. Sometimes I wonder if it's really lie or if he's just ignorant or misinformed. He says, well, first of all, he says that, oh, the teachers, they had a meeting on the 31st of January and they refused to meet. He's blaming the teachers now, saying that the union is not meeting with them. That's a blatant lie. He's saying that the union is refusing. You saw he's turning it around. He knows fully well that they're the ones who are not meeting, except for that hand-picked crew that they sent to the press. Then he says, oh, since 2020, the teacher's salary have gone up by 162%. Now, I don't believe, no, the budget. Now, he didn't break it out to say, he said the education budget, of course, we've got gold and all kinds of stuff built in there. So, but he doesn't say how much the infrastructure budget has gone up. So I did some quick calculation. Just for the roads alone, that's gone up like 5 times. But he's not going to tell you that. He's talking about this 162% that has gone into education. So those are the kinds of things that is just misinformation. But the only thing that they understand, they don't care what we say and people using sensible argument. The only thing they understand is people going out in the streets, and more people have got to join. The parents should understand the value of teachers and to build a nation. And even, who also should understand, the private sector should understand.
Yeah.
Because, UG and them are good, but without kids getting a good grounding, we all know. Because if I'm to go back to my entire life in terms of what made my career what it was, I go back, the teachers that I remember is not my high school teachers. It's my primary school teachers. Well, it's high school, but you remember some things from that grounding from your primary school days. So it's, and then here's the other thing. These people are so shameful. Besides the 1.8 million or the 2 million, these folks, they've gotten, based on the numbers that I've seen, their raises have been on the average of close to $300,000. 300. You know how many teachers would love to get that? Their raise, not their salaries. Their raises have been almost $300,000 each.
Yeah.
And then there's obviously they're sending their kids to private schools. So this here doesn't affect them whatsoever. So that's the disparity and just the unconscionable behavior of these people.
Nima, I'm coming back to you, and then we eventually will go to Dr. Adam, because I want to get us in. Something happened in this country. 2 years ago, the IRI, the Republican Institute, did a poll, and they found that not many Guyanese were keen into the oil and gas sector. They weren't paying attention. 2 years later, I hear the teachers on the streets are saying, we got the money. Guyana GDP is growing. Something has changed in the last 2 years, and our people have wised up. Is that what you are hearing, Nima, when you're on the street? Tell us what you're hearing for the teachers saying why they're staying put as it regards are you hearing them talking about the money and how it's distributed?
Like one of our chants we say on the road is that the teachers don't want no petty cash from the oil stash. No petty cash from the oil stash. We are not feeling like the entire country are seeing this oil money or this added revenue that we're getting, income that we're getting in the country. All we know is that you see all these barrels or whatever, all this information out there. But why is it that we're not seeing or feeling or experiencing the joy of this newfound wealth in our country? And the reality is that we're not getting anything. Every time I sit and I think about the concept and reading the article that says Guyana is the fastest growing economy in the world, I would ask myself, are we really the fastest growing economy in the world? Or is it that we are the fastest growing economy in the world? Because the people in Guyana are not experiencing or seeing or even having a taste of this newfound wealth that we have. All these roads and all these things that they're building, these substandard work they're doing, because many of the roads won't last. We have a lot of people walking on them and they really don't have anything to eat.
Mm-hmm.
And like you would have said, Dr. Adams, you would have said, our human capital, our education is absolutely important. And if you cannot put the resources that is needed to ensure that you have happy teachers in the classroom, then you really don't care about the human resources of your country. It's clear as day.
It's here.
Yep.
Dr. Adams, you heard the Vice President last night. When cornered on the GDP, he said, "Oh, when I talk about the GDP, I wasn't talking about that. We have to talk about the revenue." Now, this government been boasting about the GDP. We are the fastest growing economy in the world, and so on. Now it falls upon its own propaganda because the people are saying, the teachers are saying, yes, we agree with you that we are the fastest growing economy in the world. We agree with you that we get big money that's coming that we never had before. Where is our share? All of a sudden, Mr. Jagdio is trying to play dumb and say, well, we aren't getting the same kind of revenue to match the growth. You know, that chap is a three card. Well, we grew up talking about three card tricks though. He's a 4 card and a 5 card trickster. That's what he is. You know, all of a sudden, the GDP don't mean anything. Do the teachers have a case?
with
Dr. Adams.
Oh, but I mean, there's no question. But you're right. This guy is more than even a 4 card. I don't know what it is. He's probably gonna have more fingers than an octopus. You know, because here's the same guy, by the way, the same guy who said that teachers should get 50% increase.
Yes.
And you know what he said last?
I'm denying that last night.
He said he never said that.
Yeah.
Denying that last night.
This is the same guy, even though they're videos, it's the same guy who said he never said anything but renegotiating the contract, even though the videos are playing that both he and the president is they know that they said that. But you know, you see, and you're right, these guys they kerfuffle the kerfuffle the ordinary Guyanese folks when they talk about GDPs and all this kind of thing, when it suits them. But here it is in this country with this the highest GDP in the world. But guess what? 50% or 40-something% of our people are living on less than $5 per day.
There you go. There you go.
You know, that so you can see where it's skewed. And then you've got their friends and families who probably never even went to IFLOT University, who are getting these big contracts, like $1 billion contract, never, you know, has never done anything. So those are that's where all they're interested in is that it's less than 1%, by the way. It's less than 1% of the people who getting probably 90% or 95% of the wealth of this country. That is why it's focused on infrastructure. Ordinary people like us are not in infrastructure. You know, we're like teaching, like, you know, and other just ordinary little things, you know, jobs. But they're not interested in those type of people. They're interested in filling the pockets of their friends and their families. This GDP stuff, but you're right. when the questions start, when you box them in, they start running away. Especially this guy. This guy is slippery more than an eel, and he's got
Mhm.
it's unbelievable.
In case you're just joining us, we're doing it tonight. We're talking about a teacher strike. MP Nima Flue-Bess and our usual guest, Dr. Vincent Adams. In case you're looking for your African wear,
That's right.
African wear, the people who deck me out, you all say you like my African, the Sheikies. Well, Buxton Chic, you can tell from the name where they come from. It's a Guyanese owned company operating out of Maryland in the United States, and they sew to order and they ship wherever you want them to ship your stuff to in the world. The prices are reasonable. Buxton Chic, you call them at 240-593-4138. Let me go slowly. 240-593-4138. You call them, Genevieve, and you tell them that I sent you, Politics 101 send you. Tell them Nima Flue-Bess send you. Tell them Dr. Vincent Adams send you. And if you call we name, you're getting a discount on the discount already. Tell Genevieve that Nima Flue-Bess, Vince Adams, and David Hines send you, and they're going to deck you out in the African way. Buxton Chic is the name of the Guyanese owned company. The number is 240-593-4138. If you're in the Maryland, Washington, D.C. area, as many of you are, well, you're right in the heart of things. If you're outside of that area, they will ship to you. Please call them today. And for those of you who are wondering about I'm fidgeting because you can see this a custom C. This a custom C. I did a little procedure yesterday, and the doctors have ordered me that one of the healing process, or part of the healing process, is that you've got to look hip. So I've got to wear my little shade thing and so on. So that's the reason that I am looking hip tonight with my little shades, just recovering from a slight a procedure on my eye that was done yesterday. I'm okay, no pain, no big discomfort and so on, but I still have to take the precautions by looking hip. All right.
Doc,
Yes.
before, just to go back here, because this here is important. You mentioned oil, and let me tell you how some of the things that they're saying and doing, which is tied to your last question. Since 2022, April, they've announced. Did you remember after every discovery, we used to get an update as to the oil reserves?
Yes.
The last oil reserve we got was 11 billion barrels of oil. That was 2022 April. Mm-hmm. They've had seven what they call significant discoveries, and until now we cannot hear what are the new, what is the updated reserves. And let me tell you something. I used to work on, coming up as a young engineer. That is the easiest calculation you can do right there on the rig while you're drilling. You run your logs, and you can make some rough calculations, and then the next day you go back in the office, you run your models. You know what those numbers are. The government knows what those numbers are, because the PSA requires that Exxon has to report it to the government. They know what those numbers are. But here's why. And then they come taking the eyes and past people to say, well, we're focusing on other things. They believe that we're really dumb and stupid. But here is the reason why. They're afraid that if we, people like us, know those numbers, we're going to ask for more. And if we know those numbers, like this whole teachers thing, is not only the teachers alone, but if people in the society here, well, here is what we've got all of this all in here. What are you doing for us? That's what they're afraid of. They do not want people to analyze and ask the questions. They've got their own plans as to where they want all this money to go. They know what that reserve is. And it's not 11 billion anymore. Who knows what it is? As I said, since that 11 billion, they have made what they term to be seven significant discoveries. They need to tell us what those are. And they're coming up with these silly excuses, including including Barrett himself in his. And you can see when all those questions are asked, as slippery as he is, you can see how he start fidgeting
Yeah,
and
yeah,
get
yeah,
very
yeah, yeah.
uncomfortable.
Yeah, I noticed him last night saying he has answered question on ring fencing, on this and that,
That's exactly
and he's
correct.
not answering anymore. You know,
That's
you
exactly.
know when you got him corner.
And this is a man who, that was the other thing he said when he was in opposition, that we have so give away our patrimony. This is the coalition government, and every time there's a barrel of oil that is produced, the Guyanese, they've got to be sad. This is the same man, and we must have ring fencing when they get in. And now the guy is torn right around. I mean, these guys are something else. But the thing is, they're only doing it because of the racial division that we've got in this country, and it doesn't matter what he says or do. We know what's going to happen, and they're not held accountable.
Yeah,
That he's
but
not held
talking about the
accountable.
talking about the racial division. Let me pose this question first to Nima and then come back to you. One of the revelations about this teacher strike,
Yes.
quite apart from the fact that the teachers are militant, they're on the streets, and they're showing Guyanese what struggle is and how you do it. We have to take our hats off to them. The majority of those teachers are women, mostly African Guyanese women, and we have to take our hats off to them because they're leading this thing. We have some male teachers, and Coretta McDonald was here, and she raised something that really stayed with me. She said, we have to take our hats off to our male teachers because the salaries that those male teachers have to take home, then those male teachers cannot support their families with that salary. And men can't take care of their families. It emasculates them. And so there's an added burden. But a third dimension of this strike is our Indo-Guyanese teachers and on our Amerindian teachers, but especially our Indo-Guyanese teachers in Essequibo in particular, but also in Berbice. Not only have they come out on strike, but they have been vocal. And I think that's a revelation. It speaks, I think, to consciousness. I have no doubt that those teachers may have voted PPP, and they may vote PPP if the elections are called tomorrow. But they have been able to put in context what this struggle is about. Nima, Flue-Bess, your comment on that dimension of the strike, and then I'll come to you, Dr. Adams.
I must commend my colleagues for coming out and boldly speaking out. It is not easy for them. I can tell you from experience that I've known currently ongoing, because one of my colleagues of a different ethnicity commented on a post that the Madam Minister posted. She's being attacked by them. And people even took the opportunity to curse her out and all kinds of things for her speaking the truth. And I would say to my colleagues, let us speak the truth and let us fight for what is right. All we need is better wages and working conditions. And all the race card and all these things that they're trying to push, I am happy that we can see the role and the importance of education, that our teachers can look past the old issue about race and speak out for the issue, which is better wages and working conditions. And they must engage the union. I can tell you they're using a lot of bully tactics on the teachers, the Indo teachers, and so that would have spoken out. They are using a lot of bully tactics. But every time they reach out to me, I would tell them, hold the fort. Don't buckle. We will stand. Once we stand together, they can't overcome you. All kinds of things. They threaten them. They call them. I know issues where the head teachers or so might be calling one particular ethnic group of teachers to find out why they're not coming to school, but they're not calling the other set. And so you find that kind of deception and wickedness being played out behind the scene, even though we are on strike. So tonight I'm publicly calling on my colleagues, regardless of your race, come out and speak up. It is not about your race. It is about our rights as teachers to have better wages and working conditions. And if they threaten you, go public. Make it public. Let the world know that they've threatened you. They've called and made threats to you. Let the world know. So in event something should happen, the world know what's happening. And that's why I like the idea that we have social media. I said to my colleagues, just like how they're attacking us on social media with all the lies and all the things that they put in up. Let us go and all them inbox because they open the door. They have opened the door. Let us go on all the Facebook posts and comment on them and every way that they post. Let us go there and let them know that we're not uneducated. We're an educated set of people. And we will not sit down and allow them to continue riding on us and carrying on at the way in which they're doing it. And so tonight, my teacher colleagues, again, I'm saying to you, let us use this opportunity to stand up for something. At the end of the day, we all will be victorious. Don't worry the bullyism that is taking place, all the threats that is taking place. Let us stand up for something. They attack us on social media, attack them back right there. Let the world see. They threaten you, put it public. Let them see. This is what we need to be doing, and united we stand. United we stand, teachers. We will conquer.
Yes. Dr. Adams, as before you answer that question, I just want to get this in. We politicians sometimes think that we have to speak for people. I hear a lot of times African Guyanese politicians on the opposition side. We always say, and Indian people are suffering too, and it's not just African people and so on, and that's true. But I'm saying there's something about it that is patronizing. But when you hear Indian people themselves on the picket line in Essequibo talking about their own, that's the real thing. That's not me, David Hines, or you or Nima saying they're suffering. They're speaking. And I think for me, that is what I would like to encourage Indo-Guyanese and Amerindian guys to speak for themselves about their suffering. They don't need me and you to patronize them and so on. And I think the fact that those people are out there speaking in their own voice, facing perhaps more danger, as Nima said, than African Guyanese teachers. Danger to their life and their limb and their livelihood and their communities. Because Vince, you are half and half. So you know the story well about how dread it could be in those communities. Please, my brother, speak on that issue of the Indian Guyanese a component of this strike.
Oh, no question. And like you said, I'm I guess fortunate to be half and half, because I deal with both sides, and I love both sides, especially both sides of my family. I love them to death, and both sides, they trust me. So we have some open, honest conversation, and I have not met every single conversation that I have had, whether it's Indians or blacks, my friends and families, they're all in support. But the one thing which is exactly what the MP is saying, the Indians, they support this to the hill, but they're afraid to come out in public. So they're taking more risks. So when you see an Indian person under the picket line, it takes a lot of courage. They're not only putting themselves at risk, they're putting their family at risk, and even their just future opportunities in whatever area they are. But the other thing that impressed me, and I follow every single day, and every day I'm looking, all over to get those clips. What has impressed me, even in Georgetown, I have seen a few Amerindian folks in Georgetown. I don't know if they travel down to town for it or if they happen to be just in Georgetown. And then when I look at Region 2, I think Region 2 had the biggest rally or assembly of teachers of all the assemblies that I've ever seen. I was trying to figure out where it was, but they weren't saying you.
It's not Anrijang, I think.
It was, but it was a big. I mean, it was a major gathering, which was very, very impressive. Since that commitment, but again, I think the teachers need much more support, because I think this is the only thing that the PP understands is mass people getting out in the street, and the teachers alone, to me, I think they need help. It needs to start, especially with the GPSU. And if they jump in, I think everything is going. The whole game is going to change.
The
And I
whole game
think
is
that
going to change.
that's where we should be moving, because doesn't the teachers also part of the? I guess they're not part of the public service union, are they?
No, no, no. They have their
Okay.
own
But
union
in
and the
any
public
case,
service.
they're all public servants,
They're all
and
public servants.
they should jump in. And John, you remember the our general strike? I think it started with public servants. You
Yes.
remember when that? So this here is just again, history is repeating itself.
History is repeating itself, Dr. Vincent Adams. Dr. Adams, I know time is going and you want to talk a little bit about that oil spill off the coast of Tobago. I'm hearing last night that the ship in question was headed to Guyana. Of course, our learned vice president asked the reporter where they get the story from and so on. Talk a little bit about that oil spill.
Yeah, well, it just here again, is a kind of thing that we all on your show and all of the shows we've been talking about. It goes back to this parent company guarantee that this government that have been on the Exxon side not to provide anything if we have a spill. And you know what's so galling? This vice president and some of his acolytes, the vice president said at his press conference, well, I ain't hearing all them we be talking about parent company guarantee coming out and saying anything. Just if he's mocking folks who've been fighting for a parent company guarantee to take care, for Exxon to take care of any spill that occurs. He's mocking it to say, well, are you going to go after the Trinidadian government and all kinds of foolishness? Okay, but here's the implication here, though. The implication is that this vice president said, oh, me, I don't have anything to do with it. I think it's now confirmed that this ship was coming to Guyana. Now, I don't know why a ship would be coming to Guyana if it's crude oil, to bring crude oil to Guyana, because we have no refinery, so there's no use for crude oil. But here's the other thing. The vice president says he doesn't know anything about it. If a ship is going to go to a destination, and I know this because in every country you have it, they have got to provide what is called a manifest. They've got to provide a manifest of the load that they're bringing into your country. When I was at the EPA, even if they didn't even have to be stopping in Guyana if they passed through our EEZ, they had to register with us to pass through, and I think they even had to pay some kind of an annual fee or something. So I want to know if they're saying it's been 8 days now, and the government of Guyana said, oh, we don't know anything about it. Something is wrong if it was coming to Guyana, that they should have a manifest of the Lord who owns that ship and everything else. So it's either one or two things. There's some fishiness going on with that load that was on the ship, or which is what they're trying to cover up. It's either that, or they're just flat out something has broken down, and there's something being covered up here. If it was, because why would you bring crude oil to Guyana? We produce a hell of a lot of crude oil. We don't have a refinery. So I'm saying, if this is the case, why are we denying? And we should know, if a ship is coming to Guyana, we should know there has to be a manifest before it arrives here as to what they're bringing into. And here's the other thing. Like I said, we've been talking about protection of this is from based on what I've seen. I think they're estimating now like 12,000 barrels. And you see the damage that is caused. As a matter of fact, Rowley himself come out and say they're lucky because if it had gone by just a few miles in a different direction, it would have been a major disaster, wiping out an entire Gulf or whatever it is in Trinidad. But here it is, 12,000. We're producing right now over 650,000 barrels per day. One of those wells blows at 250,000 barrels per day. This year is only 12,000 one time. Mm-hmm. That's what happened in the Gulf. Mm-hmm. So if you have 650, one well, let's say it's one well, 250,000 barrels, and it's flowing into the Gulf, what the hell is going to happen to the entire Caribbean? As a matter of fact, the models show it would wipe away the whole Caribbean, not only Guyana. And guess where it would wipe away to? The coast of Venezuela. So if you want to give them an excuse, to really come after us, that would be their excuse. So, and the other thing is what they're finding out in Trinidad. it becomes so chaotic because the spill emergency response plan is not working. Now they're what it's supposed to do, like, our company Petrotrain is supposed to have these boys, what, to stop the, they can't find them. They can't find the BP's thing that is supposed to be in the plan. It's all chaotic. And the MP should, because I've been talking about this all the time too, we do not have an adequate spill response plan. When I was at EP, I refused to sign it. It was developed by the CDC, and I refused to sign it. It was so inadequate. And I said, no, I'm not going to put an EPA name on it. So we've got a spill response plan that is worthless. And when you've got a spill response plan, you've got to conduct exercise all along for everybody who's going to be involved. So we've got a course 270 miles, and you've got all of these local communities who have to be involved. And if something happens, they all
in
need to
serious
know
trouble.
exactly how I respond. So that's
Yeah.
what we're dealing with here. It's an eye opener for us. So we better pay attention to this spill.
We better pay attention to this spill. We'll continue to pay attention and to follow what's happening with that Tobago spill. Nima Flue-Bess, 2 weeks have gone. The teachers are saying that they are not coming off. They are not backing down. We enter the third week. Your message to the teachers, to the country.
Well, slippers on the ground, we ain't backing down. We ain't backing down. The government must come to the table with our union and engage them in discussion. I must thank those persons who've been supporting us, whether they bring a little water, a little snack, and stuff like that, items on the roadways for us. We are thankful you're helping us. We must thank our parents who've been keeping their children at home. I hope that Monday there should be no student at school, not a pupil, not a student. Nobody should be at the school. We all should be on the streets raising our voice that the government of Guyana, this PPPC government, must engage our union and come to a decision so that the teachers can be comfortable, the teachers can be happy in the classroom. That's all we want, and we will continue to do that. I want to encourage civil society, come out and support us. Come out and help to raise your voices in this struggle. We should not be going through this as a country that has the fastest growing economy. We all should live comfortably. Colleagues, those who are weak-hearted, remember, one person can make a difference. Come out. Don't think about all that's going to happen. We all have our bills to pay. I don't know what's going to happen next month. I don't calculate. In 2 weeks gone, I probably going to lose the third week salary, and I still got bills to pay. But I will not step back into the classroom in the same condition. If you go back into the classroom with the same condition, it makes no sense. You will have the same struggle. You will have the same lack of resources. If we stay out of the classroom fully in our numbers and change come, when we go back to the classroom, you and I will be happy. And so I look forward to seeing my colleagues on the front line Monday morning, slippers on the ground. We ain't backing down. No way.
And
some
information for the public here. Those of you who would like to contribute to the Strike Relief Fund, Republic Bank, Guyana Teachers Union, that's the account. And the number, you all ready? You all ready to write it down? The number 962-956-701-130. Let me repeat that. 962-956-701-130. One more time. 962-956-701-130. And that is Republic Bank, the Guyana Teachers Union. That's their account for strike relief. There are other means by which you can contribute to the strike relief fund. I'm going to try to get all of that information over the weekend. So on Monday when we come, I'll be able to blast it on the screen so you have all the digits and all the information that you need to contribute to the strike relief fund. I know that Bostonian Morning Time has a strike relief fund, and some of you have been contributing to that fund. We in Politics 101 support that strike relief fund. You can get that information from Kidaki Amsterdam on Bostonian Morning Time. The Politics 101 supports that strike relief effort. 11 Bildam, hand wash hand, make hand come clean. Vincent Adams, your closing thoughts.
Well, I think that the hottest thing right now, and I think we all need to lend our support, is behind this teacher strike. This year, it's major. It's not only about the teachers again. This year is going to determine where this country goes from now on. And they have got to stand up. And we all, in the diaspora and in Guyana itself, we all have got to stand up for not only for them, but this year is for the nation, is building this nation. This year, we're at the crossroads right now. And it's not a case where we can't afford it. This year is what's so troubling about this. If it was 5 years ago, you could have understood. We have enough money to give these teachers double their salaries at least, without any question. So it's not a case where it's unreasonable. So they're not asking for anything unreasonable. They're asking for a decent wage for the most important sector of our economy. This is what builds the foundation of our economy. And it's not that we don't have the money. We have the money. That's the bottom line. So we've got to stand behind them, and to make sure that at least they need to get them to the government needs to engage this lawlessness and this authoritarian way of operating. This year is also gonna get in its way.
It's gonna get in its way.
Change the rule.
Across in Trinidad and Tobago, the average teacher's salary there is $1,500.
Yeah.
In Guyana is $600. If you do the math, it will show that the Guyanese teacher on the average is earning 40% of what the Trinidad and Tobago counterparts are earning. And Trinidad oil is a drop. What Trinidad in its heyday used to produce, that's a small fraction of what we are producing, and we haven't reached zenith yet. They can afford it. Sister Nima, Brother Vincent Adams, thank you all for coming on. Sister Nima, absence makes the heart grow fonder. Now that we have gotten you, you're coming back next week, Friday, to keep our company. So
that's right.
The date is set. So tell all your other political boyfriends that you have a date with Politics 101 on Friday evening. Thank you very much, my sister. Keep up the good work. You know that you are one of my favorite. And hello to the people of Maka, Arcadia. And we love them. We continue to love them because they're a symbol of what it is to stand strong in this dung presser, man-made dung presser, as Brother Bob Marley said. Brother Vince.
Yes, him.
Christianborg in the house. Christianborg in the house.
Christianborg, that's it.
I'm not making it. I'm not saying it.
I think you're learning. You're getting the drift here. Christianborg is the only place that exists, and I always brag though. I always have to put in this one because I don't know if our good sister knows this. Yeah, Christianborg, right, Nima? Christianborg, okay. It's where the only thing of value that people thought we had a value is the cemetery. Everybody had to end up at the cemetery, but guess what? In the alleys, and I always like to say alleys of Christianborg because that's what it's made up of. In the alleys of Christianborg, 2 out of 5 of all of the PNC leaders came out from the alleys of Christianborg. Robert Corbin and Aubrey Norton. And I grew up with both of them. And the interesting thing is, Aubrey Arby and Robert's house were right next to each other. I lived in another alley down, down the way, but their house was right next to each other. They grew up in the same alley, right next to the Christianborg government school that we grew up in, and we're and myself and the prime minister grew up in the same alley.
Mhm. Wow.
Our prime minister grew up in the same. So a lot of good things still came out of
Still
Christian.
came out
A
of
lot of
Christian.
special breeze blows
That's
in.
right.
All right.
Yes, thank you very much. And big
Okay.
up to the people of Linden. They've been really shouting to the mountaintop and really doing their thing. I had a look at today and yesterday at some of the videos out of the Linden area. Man, Linden is really doing it as other parts of the world. This teacher strike is really telling us a lot about ourselves, about our time, and about our date with destiny. Guyana has a date with destiny, and that is to fulfill all the promises from the Middle Passage, come right through to the boneyards of the indentured period, right through to the barrack yards, right through to the alleys of Christianborg, and the little and the little lots in the villages. We have a date with destiny, and the teachers have unlocked a Pandora's box. Let's do it. Thank you all very much.
Let's
Thank
do it.
you all
Okay.
very much. Thank you all. And as usual, I want to thank you all for being with us. Without you all, there's no program. I'm telling you. We come here every night. Upwards of 1,000 of you are here, ready to do it with us. And we've been doing it, and we continue to be eternally grateful. That is why I'm here tonight. The doctors tell me, well, Dr. Andrew, you have to take a little rest. But in case you don't want to rest, we give you the cute look, right? So I'm here. Let's take the weekend and refuel. And then we come back on Monday, ready to rumble. Whenever teachers put their feet to God's earth and shuffle in unison, and their voices ring out in the open space. Ring out in the open space for all the elements and the gods to hear. It means that good times are around the corner. Good times are around the corner. Strike is not the objective. The objective is to live like human beings, a decent, livable wage. Strike is the means to the end. Let Jack Dio and them understand that we understand that we are striking not because we want to strike. The teachers are striking as a means to an end. What they want is what belongs to them. That oil that has been put there by the Almighty, that has been put there by the ancestors, that oil, washed up in that oil, is the blood and the bones of Black people and brown people who braved the elements and came here against our will. And we stayed here, and today we stare and we see the El Dorado that the white people talk about. We see a black and brown El Dorado around the corner, and nothing like Jack Dio and the others will stop us from our Guyanese El Dorado. You all stay good on the weekend, and we come back fighting like Muhammad Ali. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. That's what those teachers are doing. Float like a butterfly, sting like the teachers.